be returning to episode 1 in just a moment. Just a couple of minutes here to tell you how you can further your understanding of the Civil War with some special items that are available to you, maps, books, audio and video materials, and also to encourage you to call Channel 11 during the special telecast that we're bringing you over the next 3 nights, and we'll tell you more about that in a minute too. I'm Art Singer, General Manager here at Channel 11, and it's a real privilege and a pleasure to be repeating the Civil War series. I know you probably know as well as we that we were absolutely overwhelmed with the response the first time the series was on the air. The audiences here at Channel 11 doubled across the country. They doubled or even tripled in some cases. And the reaction lines that we received, the phone calls, the conversations wherever we went, told us that it was important to repeat this series. Many people saw it, would like to see it again. Many others missed most of the programs the first time around and are going to have a chance now to see all the programs in the series. So it's a great pleasure for us to be bringing this to you. We hope you want to share our pride in this series because, of course, producer, filmmaker Ken Burns from the Civil War series, it's his series, and he, of course, is in Walpole, New Hampshire, and I hope you've been able to see the special program that we've had on several times about Ken as well. Now let's get on to some of those items that can enhance your understanding of the Civil War. Let's take a look at a few of them right now.
Channel 11 offers several thank you gifts which will increase your knowledge of the Civil War period and add to what you and your family have learned during this great series. The National Geographic Society has prepared a detailed 2-sided map showing the major battlegrounds, strategic areas, and major troop movements. Printed on heavy linen-like paper for easy use, the complete map of the major battlefields is offered with your $60 membership. For in-depth reading, you may select the companion book to the television series, The Civil War, written by Jeffrey C. Ward, with the creators of the series, Ken Burns and Rick Burns. This book contains more than 500 illustrations, many of which have never before been published. You will receive this comprehensive guide with your $150 membership. Of course, with each membership of $50 or more, Channel 11 will include a parchment copy of a stirring love letter written by Sullivan Ballou to his wife shortly before his death at the First Battle of Bull Run. Enjoy these collector's items while enjoying your membership in New Hampshire Public Television. Become a member now.
And I'm Linda Burrows, the Development Director at Channel 11 Arts. You know, we looked high and low all across the country to find these items that people have been asking for. We've had telephone calls, we've had letters, and I'm really proud to say we have a number of other items that will enhance your understanding of the Civil War and will allow you to keep this broadcast with you long after Channel 11's 3-day event is over. One of those is the CD or the cassette of the wonderful music. Many people called about it. At $90, you can get the CD. At $60, the cassette. And that Ashogan Farewell, the song you're hearing, is on this, and all of the other music that you're going to be enjoying tonight, tomorrow night, and Monday night. Another item that we've been asked about are the complete VHS set of tapes of the Civil War. I can tell you we have only 13 of these available. They're very limited supply, and as you can see, it's available at a very special level of $750 or more. If you can do that, Channel 11 can set one of those aside for you. There's also a special battlefield atlas of the Civil War. It has 45 two-color maps, each with narrative, providing a historian's inside glimpse of the Civil War. If you're a real Civil War buff, I think you might enjoy that tremendously. It was interesting finding these items. That's available, by the way, for a $90 pledge. So many people calling and asking about them, so call the volunteers if you have any questions, and let them know you're watching, you're enjoying. Remember, the programs that you count on you, so won't you call now?
Speaking of volunteers, Linda, I am standing right near our volunteers, and there are several lines still open. One that you can get in right now and connect with Channel 11. 1-800-937-2411 is the number to call, and it connects you directly with Channel 11. The operators have all the information regarding the thank you gifts that you just saw, whether it's the videotapes or the audio tapes that you're interested in. The important part is that you're connecting with Channel 11 by calling in your pledge right now. Don't forget that you can also use Visa, MasterCard, or American Express and charge your membership. Just go and get the charge card out of your purse or wallet and bring it right to the phone with you. It really does make it simple for you and for Channel 11 when you do charge it. And if you're probably like most of people, charge cards, everybody seems to have one these days, so why not take advantage of it? As I said, it does help you, and it also does help Channel 11. The money is right there. And I do want to say a couple of quick thank yous to some people who have already called in their support of the Civil War. Scott Pavlik from Georgetown, Massachusetts, thanks for your call this evening. And Evan King from Salem, New Hampshire, is enjoying the series and would like the book as a thank you gift. So why not join right now, and then you can sit all through the rest of the evening and tomorrow and Monday and enjoy this fabulous series, whether it's for the first time or for the second time. I think even watching it a second time, you'll still pick things up that maybe you missed while you were stepping out to grab something to drink the first time around. But go to your phone. We're waiting to hear from you.
Okay, now let me remind you how we're doing this. We'll be on the air the rest of the evening with episodes 1 through 3, which cover the years 1861 and 1862. Tomorrow night we'll be here at 6 o'clock again, Sunday night, and we'll have episodes 3, 4, and 5, and that will cover the years 1863 and 1864. And then on Monday evening, make a note, it will be beginning at 7:30. We'll be starting at 7:30 with the final episode, which will cover the final year of the Civil War, 1865, and the aftermath of the war. I hope that you're going to become a part of Channel 11 during this time. Channel 11 is making this special rebroadcast possible for you this weekend, and it's a pleasure to be able to do that as well. One of the things that struck me about the series was were the voices. And as the series continues, if you haven't seen it before, you're going to hear some remarkable voices, and we'll be telling you a bit later of who the people are who are taking the various parts, from Garrison Keillor to George Plimpton to many others. Ken Burns, our New Hampshire filmmaker, worked very hard to make the sound on this series exceptional as well. We asked some of our friends around New Hampshire what they thought of the series, and here's what they had to say.
I guess the most significant part for me was Gettysburg, the whole episode that dealt with Gettysburg. I actually, the Gettysburg Address, by the time it occurred in that episode, brought tears to my eyes, and although I've always liked it as a piece of writing, I don't think I ever understood it in such an important, intrinsic, and emotional way as I did.
And they really made it seem real, and like there was a lot of action going on. So I got a good sense of that period of history.
I enjoyed the Civil War sequence, cried over the letter that instigated the whole beginning of the documentary, and enjoyed every bit of it.
Great comments from some folks who saw the series, maybe like you've had those same feelings reading the letter, hearing that letter. Just a fabulous, fabulous moment in the program. Just kind of taking a quick check here. There are some phone lines open, but there are some available right now for you to call in and pledge your support. 1-800-937-2411 is the number that connects you with Channel 11. Take it that next step by calling in your pledge of support right now. I want to also just remind you about the items that are available. That is the soundtracks. The CD, of course, is for your pledge of $90. And if you have been paying attention to some of the music, you will know it is just outstanding music. And of course, Ken Burns had also a hand in the selections and all of the music during the Civil War. You're seeing the audio cassette for a pledge of $60. Also, there is the book, and this was also written with Ken Burns and his brother Rick. And it is just a beautiful book, and one I'm sure will add to your library and also further your knowledge about the Civil War. And also there is the map, which is, I took a sneak peek at the map, and it is really a fun map to look at. And once again, it just furthers your understanding and learning about the Civil War, and it is for a pledge of $60. And then, of course, the wonderful Sullivan Ballou letter to Sarah. And that comes with a pledge of $50 or more with every membership. Why not take advantage of that? There are a couple of phone lines open, and give us a call right now.
Thanks.
Excuse me, didn't even step on you there.
Thanks, Pat.
We've been hearing from a good many people around the state and around northern New England. It's very encouraging. We appreciate it, and we hope those phones are going to keep on ringing. Gordon Tissany called from Concord Art, and he says he's very impressed with Ken Burns. Well, it took Ken longer to produce this film than it took to fight the Civil War.
That's true.
That's what's one of the most remarkable things about it.
I have a letter here from Russ Maraseco. I hope I pronounced that right, in Wilmington, Mass. He wants the Baloo letter, and I think a lot of people are calling in for that at the $50 level or up. David Post from Plastown, New Hampshire, has called and joined Channel 11. Elmer Hogue from Keene, New Hampshire. Thank you for your call as well.
And Pamela Sullivan called from Wells, Maine, and she used the word compelling. I believe that's perhaps the most appropriate word for this. It's a very compelling series. We're going back to the second part of episode 1 with the Sullivan Baloo letter in it, so you're not going to want to miss a minute of this. Please, won't you call in your pledge?
You are watching viewer-supported New Hampshire Public Television.
The Civil War will continue in a few moments.
When the great orators and well-known writers of the time tried to foresee the impact the Civil War would have on future generations, they tended to miss the mark. In his address at Gettysburg, Abraham Lincoln wrote, "The world will little note nor long remember what we say here." And Walt Whitman predicted that future years will never know the seething hell, the black infernal background, and the countless minor scenes and interiors of the Secession War. The real war, he said, will never get in the books. Now, over a century later, we know the real story was told in what I felt would be the simplest yet most eloquent way possible, through the diaries and letters of the people who lived it. Americans just like you, people who could have been your neighbors or even your own great-great-grandparents. And thanks to public television, this story has come to life right in your own home. The idea for this series came to me during the Christmas of 1984 after a conversation with my grandmother. And back then, in the very early stages of this production, it was the support of one public television station that helped turn an idea into the 11-hour series you're watching here tonight. Without that initial foundation of support, this series might never have been made. That's what your pledged dollars can provide now, the support that enables this station to produce and acquire other programs like the Civil War. And it's the strong foundation this station needs to attract the corporations and institutions that will add their support to yours. If you've already called with your pledge, I'd like to thank you. And if you haven't yet made that important call, I hope you'll go to your phone right now, dial this number, talk with the operators waiting to take your call, and join in the support of your public television station. Call now. Thank you.
And thank you, Ken Burns from Walpole, New Hampshire, the creator of the Civil War series that you're seeing tonight. Ken took time to tape these spots and also to determine where he wanted these programs separated for fundraising purposes. We appreciate your watching us tonight, and we hope you'll stay with us. Let me remind you what's happening. We're going to be broadcasting the Civil War tonight, tomorrow night again, starting at 6 o'clock, and then on Monday starting at 7:30. Have a chance to see it again or to see it for the first time. We've had many people calling in already, and I hope that you'll heed Ken's words and call as well, so that Channel 11 can continue to carry these series and also to acquire them in the future. It's an important time for Channel 11, and a time when I hope that you're going to want to call in your pledge of support. And while we're at it, let me add my thanks to the underwriters of the Civil War series, General Motors, the National Endowment for the Humanities, and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and to all of the local businesses and corporations who support Channel 11 all year long, making possible the programs that begin every morning at 6:30 and go on until 1 a.m. the following morning. Channel 11 is committed to bringing you quality programming, and your pledge right now will help keep programs like the Civil War coming week after week.
And in the development office at Channel 11, we are very, very pleased to let you know that there are some wonderful special items to extend this 3-day event of the rebroadcast of the Civil War for you. One of them is something that a lot of folks have been asking us about tonight, and it's the Sullivan Ballou letter. For each of you who pledges $50 or more tonight, we will be able to send along this parchment copy containing the beautiful letter as read from the series from Sullivan Ballou to his wife Sarah before his death at the First Battle of Bull Run. And by the way, the reading of that letter is coming up very, very soon. Another special item that you might choose is the companion book written by Jeffrey Ward and Rick and Ken Burns. And it contains 500 illustrations and has a great deal of material that was not included in the film. Ken has discussed this with us here at Channel 11. He told us there was just too much. Some of it had to be left on the cutting room floor. And so your call tonight will allow you at $150 to receive this fine book. There's also an excellent map from the National Geographic Society, a very detailed two-sided map which points out all of the major Civil War battlegrounds and strategic areas. This is available for a pledge of $60 or more for those of you who are really students of the Civil War. And the wonderful cassette. So many folks have been calling and asking about the music. It is available, all of the music in the Civil War series, for a pledge of $60 or more tonight here to Channel 11.
There has been a flurry of excitement here in the studio, but there are a couple of phone lines open for you to call in right now, as some of these people have already this evening. William Aiken from Sheffield, Vermont. Good to hear from our neighbors in Vermont. Sharon Lee from Newmarket. She's watching it again for a second time, and glad you're enjoying it. And I think you'll find this name interesting, Martha and Richard Ballou from Wolfboro, New Hampshire. And it doesn't say here, but I don't know if they're a long-distant relative of our dear Sullivan Ballou. Paul Robinson from Durham, New Hampshire. P.M. Thompson from Manchester, New Hampshire. Vivian Ross from Durham, New Hampshire, and watching it for the first time. If that's the case with you, if you're watching it for the first time, then you have many hours of enjoyment and just wonderful programming ahead of you that I know you will enjoy. And if you're watching it again for the second time, you're probably going to find everything just as fascinating, and you might even pick up a few more things. I want to remind you that you can put your pledge on Visa, MasterCard, or American Express. We want to say thanks to First NH Banks for picking up those processing charges that go along with any time you do use a charge card. Thanks to First NH for providing that to Channel 11. And here's somebody who saw the series for the first time, and here's what they had to say about the Civil War.
I found myself mesmerized. I couldn't turn away from it. It was just a spellbinder. Yes, the Civil War series was probably the best thing I've ever seen.
We're back here at Channel 11, and of course the series will be continuing here. I have a very nice letter that came to us after the first broadcast from Mel Myler, Executive Director of the NEA in New Hampshire. He said, overnight the work of Ken Burns has become an epic for those of us interested in the Civil War and for those who teach the Civil War. This has become an invaluable resource for generations to come. I was trying to think back on when I was in school many, many years ago, and we studied the Civil War, I'm sure, but I don't think anything that I could have been taught would have been as compelling as watching this film. And I think that Ken Burns has provided a series not only to us adults, but to young people as well, who will be able to watch this series in their schools or to watch them at home as they may be tonight and learn about the Civil War in a very human way. And I think that's what makes this series so different. It really sets a new standard for public television for the future, and one that we want to uphold. And with your help, we'll be able to do that, because it will take many, many dollars, as it did for creator Ken Burns to do with the Civil War, to make a series as complete as this possible. From the outstanding actors and actresses who participate as the voices, to all of the film, to the special writing that appeared in it, all of the research, the historians who appear. You can imagine how expensive these productions are. Your dollars will make more of these programs available in the future. Linda?
We are going back to the conclusion of episode 1 in just a couple of minutes, but that gives you time to go to the telephone to make that call that I know you've been meaning to make. A lot of the folks that have been calling in have been saying, I've been thinking about becoming a Channel 11 member for a long time, and this series is very compelling, and it's the thing that's caused me to make my pledge tonight. And if that's the case for you, episode 1 coming up the conclusion in just a moment, and it's the climax is part of the Manassas battle, and it's the time when both sides learn that it's going to be a very, very long war. Just to remind you, in addition to the thank you gifts that we mentioned earlier, there are some others in case you have interest in them, and lots of folks have been calling and asking. The Sullivan Blue Letter, yes, it is available for your pledge of $50 or more tonight. It's on parchment. It's very nice. It's exactly as the letter looked and as read in the series. There's also a companion note from Ken Burns, who really wants this to be a success for Channel 11. I can't tell you, he's put so much effort into this for all of us. There's also an atlas book with battlefield maps, and it is available for a pledge of $90. Call the volunteers, they have all the information. And yes, we do have the complete set of videotapes, all 11 hours. There are only 13 of them. So if you can make a pledge of $750 or more, a very special pledge, you may have one of those videotapes. We'll set one aside for you. We're really hoping you're going to call in the next 60 seconds before we return to this very special broadcast.
Channel 11.
Discover. Learn. Enjoy. At your fingertips, all on Channel 11. Where you turn for what you need.
I think you know of Channel 11's commitment not only to the environment, but to our young people with children's programming, 4.5 hours a day before and after school, and 4 hours of instructional programs during the day too. These are other parts of Channel 11's commitment to excellence, and your call tonight is going to make more of these kinds of programs possible. So call in at whatever level you can to help Channel 11 and continue to watch. We're going back now to the Civil War as edited by Ken Burns for these special fundraising activities here at Channel 11. We're delighted to be bringing it to you. We hope you want to join us in this special celebration over the next 3 nights of the return of the Civil War series by our own New Hampshire Ken Burns to Channel 11. We hope you want to share the pride with us as we rebroadcast it, and to talk with our operators and learn how you can extend your knowledge of the Civil War with all of the thank you items as well.
You are watching viewer-supported New Hampshire Public Television.
Hi, I'm Art Singer here with Linda Burrows, our Director of Development here at Channel 11, and we hope if you just tuned in that you're going to stay with Channel 11 as we bring you the complete rebroadcast of the Civil War series. It started tonight at 6 o'clock, and it will continue through tomorrow evening again at 6 o'clock, and then on Monday it's starting at 7:30 until all of the episodes have been shown. And the reason for this? The tremendous response to the first showing of the Civil War series when it played on Channel 11 last September. Our audience has more than doubled. We had hundreds of letters, reaction lines, phone calls, and people asking us, when will the Civil War series be back? And we're delighted to be bringing it to you now. Let me just remind you that we'll also be telling you about some wonderful items, audio, video materials, books and maps that can be yours to enhance your understanding of the Civil War, and that will be coming along as well. We'll be hearing comments from Ken Burns throughout the evening, so we hope that you want to stay tuned and stay with us. And, of course, to pledge your support of Channel 11, because this is the end of a very important year for Channel 11. And if you have not become a member in the past, that's fine, but make tonight the night you do it. You're not going to see television programming as of a better example of what can be done if the funds are there than the Civil War series. So we hope that you'll call us right now. Linda?
Thanks, Art. In order to extend this series long after Channel 11's special 3-day event has come to an end, we've gathered a number of the special items to Channel 11 to send out to you in exchange for that very important membership. And perhaps the most important is the companion book to the series. Ken and Rick Burns and Jeffrey Ward created this companion book. It's available to you for your pledge of $150 or more. And if you heard us earlier, you know that there are 500 or more illustrations in the book. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. We have a copy here at the station, and it can be yours for that $150 pledge. There's also a very fine map that many people have been asking for. It's put out by the National Geographic Society. It's a detailed two-sided map, and it points out all of the major Civil War battlegrounds and strategic areas in the southeastern United States. It's available for your membership tonight of $60 or more. And when we were airing the series, perhaps the most asked question is, what is that music? That music is a number of excellent pieces of music that are available to you for your pledge of $90 tonight on a compact disc, or for your pledge of $60 or more tonight on a soundtrack cassette. And it's all the music in this wonderful series. If you're looking for a special holiday item for someone, I highly recommend it. It's just excellent music. And these are available. Call the operators and talk with them and tell them what it is that you'd like, and they'll make all the arrangements for you. This is a special time for Channel 11. It's a special opportunity. Ken made these segments available to us, especially so we could talk with you. And here are a couple of more items that might be of interest to you tonight when you make your pledge.
Channel 11 offers several thank you gifts which will increase your knowledge of the Civil War period and add to what you and your family have learned during this great series. A battlefield atlas of the Civil War contains 45 two-color maps, along with a detailed description of each major battle, providing a unique historian's perspective of the war. A battlefield atlas is your thank you gift for a $90 membership. If this is a time you can consider a special gift of $750 or more, Channel 11 has obtained a limited supply of the complete set of Civil War VHS videotapes. The set includes every minute of this epic series and comes with a special 48-page cross-referenced index of the people, places, and events included in the series. Of course, with each membership of $50 or more, Channel 11 will include a parchment copy of the stirring love letter written by Sullivan Ballou to his wife shortly before his death at the First Battle of Bull Run. Enjoy these collector's items while enjoying your membership in New Hampshire Public Television. Become a member now.
Let's go over to Pat Cook in the operator area. Pat?
The phones are a little bit busy, but plenty of lines open right now for you to call in and use that 800 number. It connects you with Channel 11. 1-800-937-2411 is the telephone number, so why not give Channel 11 a call and show your support. I'd like to say thank you to many people have called in already this evening. Gerald Littlefield from Chevague Island, Maine. A big hello to all of our friends out in Pasco Bay Island area. Lael Boyd Robinson, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Merrimack, New Hampshire. Really enjoying this series and thinks that Ken Burns is very special, and her daughter is glued to the television like I think we all are. Elizabeth Walton from Seabrook, John Mazzell from Manchester, New Hampshire, Earl Pollard from Newport, New Hampshire, everybody just glued to their television enjoying this fabulous series. The phones are picking up a little bit, but plenty of lines open for you to take advantage and call. I'd like to remind you about using your credit cards when you do go to the phone. I'd like to say also thanks to First NH Banks for providing the Visa and MasterCard service. They are picking up the charge on those processing charges for the Visa and MasterCard. So why not go to the phone, bring your credit card, and charge at whatever amount you feel comfortable pledging. And a couple more thank yous. We'd like to try and read as many names as possible and encourage you to also comment on the program. Let our operators know, our volunteers here know how you are feeling, how you have enjoyed maybe just tonight, if you're seeing it for the first time, or if you're seeing it for the second time, how you've enjoyed the series and are enjoying it again. Talk to our operators. They have all the information about the thank you gifts that are available. Give us a call now.
Television has been called an entertainment medium, and that, Linda, it certainly is, but there also has to be assurance that entertainment includes the arts and concerts and drama of the kind that you've come to expect to see here on Channel 11, and American history, and geography, and an opportunity to learn more about our environment and our past and our future as well. Channel 11 is committed to all of these things through the programming that it brings your way. And I think you know that when you tune to Channel 11, and the expression we've been using is where you tune for what you need, but also I think when you tune, you know that you're going to find programming of intelligence, programming with humor, with wit, well presented. There's a difference between quality and high quality. The programming on Channel 11 strives always to be of the highest quality that we can make it. And all of this takes dollars. And support from the federal government, from the state of New Hampshire, has helped Channel 11 a great deal. But the most important single source of support for Channel 11 these days is viewer support. We need your call right now. So go to your phone, dial this toll-free number, and pledge your support. The operators have all the information on the thank items, and we'll be waiting to hear from you. Linda?
All right, memberships tonight to Channel 11 are especially important because we have a very special challenge grant that has been issued by our friends from the Putnam Foundation. And they are acutely aware of the situation at Channel 11. The costs have gone up for programs, and they want to help the station tonight. So this is what they're prepared to do. For your pledge tonight, at whatever level, they will match it, they will increase it by 50%. In other words, if you pledge $60, that means an additional $30 for Channel 11. And if you pledge $150, that means an additional $75 for New Hampshire Public Television. This is a wonderful opportunity, and I sincerely hope you will take advantage of it. As a new member tonight, your membership at whatever level, 35, 60, 120, 150, 240, you name it, is going to bring so much additional funding to this station. But it can only happen by your starting the process with that phone call. Won't you make it right now?
The public in public television is your support that makes possible Channel 11 staying on the air, providing an access for work like mine and Ken Burns's and others. And my future is really in the hands of people who are watching, and so is the future of Channel 11, because if we don't have your support, and I mean that quite literally, this station would go dark, and I would be just a voice in the wilderness.
Thank you to Bill Moyers. Bill was here last spring and spoke to us in a live call-in program. I hope you had a chance to watch that as well. Channel 11 is bringing as many people to New Hampshire as it can via television and in person, people who you want to see and who you've come to watch and enjoy on the station. Bill Moyers has done many important works, has brought us Joseph Campbell. We've been introduced over the past several years to Mr. Bradshaw and many other people who are making their marks and getting their messages through, and things that we want to continue to bring to you. So your call right now has never been more important. We're going back now to the Civil War, but before we do, we're going to have to take 30 seconds to make a quick transmitter adjustment. We'll be back with the next section of the Civil War in just a moment.
Sullivan Ballew's letter to his wife Sarah has really come to symbolize Ken Burns' The Civil War series. I'd like to read to you a letter that we got just a couple of weeks ago. Last September, you broadcast a wonderful film, and in this program, Ken Burns reads a letter from a soldier to his wife. It was so touching, so eloquent, and hauntingly beautiful. I can't get the words out of my mind. How can I get a copy? Well, that letter was represents what we've been hearing from many people across northern New England. And tonight, we're going to be telling you how you can get a copy of Sullivan Blue's letter and how you can really enhance and carry with you the Civil War series throughout December of 1990 and right into 1991. Because Channel 11 is in the end of the year membership drive. This holiday drive is really part of a month-long campaign here at the station. And it's the time when we really turn to viewers to become members of Channel 11. We have a lot of good friends out there that are hoping this drive is going to be very successful. One of them is the Putnam Foundation. Our friends at the Putnam Foundation are issuing a challenge to you tonight. The challenge works this way. For every $2 that you pledge, they will send Channel 11 $1. That means if you make a $60 membership tonight, it's $30 additional for Channel 11. If you pledge $150 to receive that wonderful companion book, it means an additional $75 to Channel 11. This challenge is absolutely wonderful for the station. I can't tell you how much. We thank the Putnam Foundation, and we thank those of you that are calling in response to it. I hope we're going to keep these phones ringing all night long.
Thank you, Linda. I'd like to thank those who have brought Channel 11 this far. Channel 11 has been here for 31 years, and it's due in large part to the support that we've received from the state of New Hampshire, to the governors and legislators through the years, through businesses and industry who have supported everything from Channel 11's auction to program underwriting, and of course to hundreds and hundreds of volunteers who continue to be the real backbone of the efforts here at this station. The struggle, the challenge really continues here at Channel 11, however, to continue to be non-commercial in an age of commercialism, to continue to find quality programming in an age when there is so much programming available to us that we don't believe is what you've asked us to bring you. It's work, it's hard work, and we are committed to bringing you the very best we can, but we need your support. There are 30,000 individuals and families who are members of Channel 11, and I wish that were enough, but the costs for running non-commercial public television stations like New Hampshire Public Television are increasing rapidly every year. And faced with the kinds of economies that we see around the country now, the challenge is even greater. So if you've ever considered supporting Channel 11, use this opportunity as you're enjoying the Civil War series to stand up, go to your phone, and make that pledge of support so we can keep bringing you these fine programs.
Channel 11 offers several thank you gifts which will increase your knowledge of the Civil War period and add to what you and your family have learned during this great series. The National Geographic Society has prepared a detailed two-sided map showing the major battlegrounds, strategic areas, and major troop movements. Printed on heavy linen-like paper for easy use, the complete map of the major battlefields is offered with your $60 membership. For in-depth reading, you may select the companion book to the television series, The Civil War, written by Jeffrey C. Ward, with the creators of the series, Ken Burns and Rick Burns. This book contains more than 500 illustrations, many of which have never before been published. You will receive this comprehensive guide with your $150 membership. Of course, with each membership of $50 or more, Channel 11 will include a parchment copy of the stirring love letter written by Sullivan Ballou to his wife shortly before his death at the First Battle of Bull Run. Enjoy these collector's items while enjoying your membership in New Hampshire Public Television. Become a member now.
Your call tonight has never been more important, and we're really counting on your making it. If you would like to receive the full set of videotapes of the Civil War series, they are available. There are only 13 sets left to be taken by folks pledging $750 or more if you can make a special gift at that level. There's also a battlefield atlas of the Civil War for a $90 membership level tonight. It includes 45 two-color maps, each with a narrative, and they provide a historian's inside glimpse to the Civil War. And the music. So many people have asked about the music. The hauntingly beautiful A Shogun Farewell That song and others is available on cassette or on CD. And whichever you'd prefer, we have a supply of both. $90 for the compact disc and $60 for the cassette of the Civil War music. Please call the operators, tell them why you're watching tonight and how important this series is to you. And by the way, if you can't pledge at one of the levels I've just mentioned, every single one of you is critically important. We have a challenge, and your pledge is going to bring us terrific and very important matching money. So whether it's $35, $50, $60, $90, they're all important, every single membership, and we're really counting on hearing from you.
And Art, I've been keeping an eye on our phone situation here, and there's been a kind of a flurry of activity, but they've been ringing steadily, but I can see several lines open right at this very minute. Here's your opportunity to give Channel 11 a call. Connect with Channel 11 by using that 800 number, 1-800-937-2411, and let Channel 11 know about what you're thinking about this program. We want to urge you to talk to the operators and let them know how, if you're seeing it for the first time or for the second time, and just let them know what you're thinking. And also, if you want to put your pledge on a charge, just bring your Visa, MasterCard, or American Express to the phone. Give us a call.
My aunt always said that the very best gift you could give or receive was a book, because even if you didn't read, it was flattering to be considered literate. Well, I would like to suggest a gift that has all the advantages of a book, plus it's a good deal more imaginative. A gift membership in Channel 11. Now don't laugh, this is a terrific gift, and it reflects well on you because it is so imaginative. And every month, when the Channel 11 program guide arrives, they'll think of you. And every night, when they look something up in the program guide, they'll think of you. Here is a perfect gift. Here is a gift that benefits us, it benefits you, it benefits the person that you give it to. And isn't that what this season is all about? But you know that. You're already a member of Channel 11. Aren't you?
Thank you, Fritz Weatherby. For those who watch Fritz on Channel 11, you know his aunt is legendary. Everyone knows about what she has to say. All right, I was just looking at something that we sent out in the mail to folks, a message from Ken Burns. Many of you received this message in the mail. If you didn't, I sincerely wish we'd been able to send it to each and every one of you, because Ken has done so much for the station over the last few weeks. He provided the programs and the breaks within the show tonight so that we could talk with people. He wrote letters to our viewers asking them to become Channel 11 members. We owe Ken Burns an awful lot, and I sincerely hope that you will respond to Ken Burns and the Civil War tonight by making the largest pledge you can. Remember, the challenge is on, and the dollars that you pledge tonight are going to receive matching funds from the Putnam Foundation. It's a wonderful opportunity, Art. It's a rare opportunity.
Fritz was mentioning the program guide, Linda, and in this month's program guide, we have background information on the Sullivan Blue letter. And that's the kind of additional information that the program guide provides every month, where the letter was found and how it got into Ken Burns' hands. This kind of additional information is what we're able to bring you in our program guide every month, so we'll hope you want to join and have that as well. Just take a few minutes here. We want to thank Robert Nielsen from Durham, who's calling for the first time and is seeing the program for the first time. Cynthia Crocker from Pepperell, Massachusetts, thank you too.
Donna Loranger from Nashua has joined Art, and Heather Coop from New London, a couple more new members, plus Christine Norris from Newcastle, who lived as a child in Georgia.
Thomas Clark from Amherst, New Hampshire, and Paula Robert from Saco, Maine.
Dan Barry called from Springfield, Vermont, and Colin Supple from Hampton Falls.
When you call, please tell us your comments about the Civil War program. We'd like to pass them along to PBS, and I noticed that several of the people are saying that they're watching this program again. I'm amazed at how much I missed the first time around watching the program.
You know what? It's
and
true.
Seeing it again, you pick up even more and more.
You surely do. Many, many people calling in their memberships to Channel 11 tonight, and I sincerely hope we're going to count you among them. It's a special time for us.
Right. A reminder that we'll be here tonight. Tomorrow we begin at 6 o'clock with the years 1863 and 64, and then on Monday evening, starting at 7:30, the finale, the conclusion of the Civil War series, with the year 1865. When we come back, I wanted to tell you about some of the people whose voices you're hearing on this series. We'll make a point of doing that too. We thank Ken Burns for picking out how we get in and out of these fundraising opportunities. We hope you'll be with us all evening long as we continue the Civil War.
Special promotion of Channel 11's encore of the Civil War is made possible in part by the members of New Hampshire Public Television and by a grant from the Concord law firm of Rath, Young, Pignatelli, and Oyer on behalf of its employees, clients, and friends.
When the great orators and well-known writers of the time tried to foresee the impact the Civil War would have on future generations, they tended to miss the mark. In his address at Gettysburg, Abraham Lincoln wrote, "The world will little note nor long remember what we say here." And Walt Whitman predicted that future years will never know the seething hell, the black infernal background, and the countless minor scenes and interiors of the Secession War. The real war, he said, will never get in the books. Now, over a century later, we know the real story was told in what I felt would be the simplest yet most eloquent way possible, through the diaries and letters of the people who lived it, Americans just like you, people who could have been your neighbors or even your own great-great-grandparents. And thanks to public television, this story has come to life right in your own home. The idea for this series came to me during the Christmas of 1984 after a conversation with my grandmother. And back then, in the very early stages of this production, it was the support of one public television station that helped turn an idea into the 11-hour series you're watching here tonight. Without that initial foundation of support, this series might never have been made. That's what your pledged dollars can provide now, the support that enables this station to produce and acquire other programs like the Civil War. And it's the strong foundation this station needs to attract the corporations and institutions that will add their support to yours. If you've already called with your pledge, I'd like to thank you. And if you haven't yet made that important call, I hope you'll go to your phone right now, dial this number, talk with the operators waiting to take your call, and join in the support of your public television station. Call now. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Art Singer, General Manager here at Channel 11. We're going to take a few moments here before we go on to the final episode this evening of the Civil War that we'll be showing this evening. Let me remind you again of what Channel 11 is doing. We have cleared our schedule for tonight, tomorrow night, and Monday night, and we'll be bringing you all of the episodes of the Civil War series, which so many of you asked us to repeat. Many of you are seeing the series for the first time, I know. And if you are now understanding why the series was as popular as it was, you understand why Channel 11 is repeating it. The response the first time in September was really overwhelming. So you'll have a chance to see episodes tomorrow night beginning at 6, and then on Monday night at 7:30. And we hope that you'll spread the word, tell your friends and relatives about it as well. You can help celebrate the return of the Civil War to Channel 11 by going to your phone right now and making the largest pledge you can. You just heard from Ken Burns, the creator and filmmaker of the Civil War series, and as many of you know, he does live in Walpole, New Hampshire, and is a very good friend of Channel 11's. A number of years ago, when the Statue of Liberty series was on Channel 11, at that time, had Ken in for a special event, and we learned about his filmmaking technique, and much of what he talked about then is still happening today. So we hope you go to your phone and make that call right now, won't you?
All right, there's another reason for folks to make that pledge of support tonight, and that's a matching challenge from the Putnam Foundation, which is on right now. If you've been thinking about becoming a Channel 11 member, I want you to convert that thinking to action right now, because Channel 11 is going to earn extra money, and I'm going to explain that to you in just a moment. But get to that telephone. And if you're wondering about those special thank you gifts, yes, at this hour, they're still available. That companion book to the Civil War was written by Ken Burns with his brother Rick and Jeffrey Ward. And Ken told us that there was so much material in scouring the 160 libraries and museums that he looked at that he couldn't use it all in the film. Much of it is in the book. 500 illustrations, many things that you won't find elsewhere. In addition, we have the music. Many folks have called and asked about the music. We have a cassette of the Civil War soundtrack. We also have a compact disc. The cassette is a $60 membership level, and the compact disc a $90 membership level. And finally, but not least, the map of the battlefields in the southeastern United States. It's the National Geographic Society's Civil War map, yours for a pledge of $60 or more, and I stress that or more because there's matching money to be earned tonight with your pledge of support to New Hampshire Public Television. So won't you call right now with the largest pledge you can make. Stand up for this kind of programming.
Channel 11 offers several thank you gifts which will increase your knowledge of the Civil War period and add to what you and your family have learned during this great series. A battlefield atlas of the Civil War contains 45 two-color maps, along with a detailed description of each major battle, providing a unique historian's perspective of the war. A battlefield atlas is your thank you gift for a $90 membership. If this is a time you can consider a special gift of $750 or more, Channel 11 has obtained a limited supply of the complete set of Civil War VHS videotapes. The set includes every minute of this epic series and comes with a special 48-page cross-referenced index of the people, places, and events included in the series. Of course, with each membership of $50 or more, Channel 11 will include a parchment copy of the stirring love letter written by Sullivan Ballou to his wife shortly before his death at the First Battle of Bull Run. Enjoy these collector's items while enjoying your membership in New Hampshire Public Television. Become a member now.
As we continue with this historic rebroadcast of the entire Civil War series, I want to express my gratitude to the many people who have already called in during this evening. We've had several hundred people call with their pledges of support to get the materials that are available to them. I'd also like to thank the union leader, Manchester Union leader, for a lead editorial back in September when this series first ran. Joe McQuaid wrote, "Burns' techniques and his devotion to research have given life to the Civil War in a manner we have seen nowhere before. This series ought to be seen by every school child and adult in America, and this type of quality TV program ought to be the standard by which all others are measured." And that is the kind of response that led to this repeat broadcast, and we're delighted to be able to do that. Actually, this new standard of documentary that we have here is going to create some new challenges for public television in the years ahead, and I'll be telling you about those in a minute or two.
I am here by our operators, and there are plenty of phones busy, but there are also plenty of phones open. A phone line is waiting for you. Use that 800 number, 1-800-937-2411, and there is a great group of enthusiastic Channel 11 volunteers, and they're a group of regular volunteers here at Channel 11. And looking over, I can see the Channel 11 auction chairperson, Peg Case, and her husband, Frank, and there's Mort, and there's Art Pelletier, and there's Carl. There's a lot of great people who volunteer their time here at Channel 11, and they're here because not only the Civil War, but their overall their love of Channel 11. So you can call in and talk to one of them and find out about the thank you gifts and also about charging your pledge on Visa or MasterCard. And I want to say thanks to First NH Banks for picking up those processing charges that go along with Visa and MasterCard. We want to say thanks to them for providing that service to us. And just a couple of quick thanks to Ann Indorf from Derry, New Hampshire, Brian Cross from Bow, New Hampshire, just a few of the people that have been calling in. We've heard from many of you, but we'd still like to hear from you if you haven't called. Give us a call.
Thank you, Pat. A real good reason for people to call tonight, Art, is the Putnam Foundation Challenge. And what this means to Channel 11 is that for every every $2 that you pledge tonight, Channel 11 is going to receive $1. What does that mean in terms of your pledge? How about a $60 pledge. That means $30 additional for Channel 11 for a total of $90. If you can pledge $150 for the book, for example, there you see the calculation. It's at $75 additional for Channel 11. And so what this means is no matter what the size of your pledge, whether it's $35 or $2,000, every pledge counts.
What I was starting to say earlier was that this new challenge for public television, Linda, I think is really going to be that people's expectations, your expectations and mine, have really been raised by this series. We're not going to accept the average film documentary anymore. Ken Burns set a new standard for us, and I think we're going to want to see this kind of personal approach to history in the future. And that's going to mean the kind of research, and as you said, Ken started on this series.
That's right.
It took 5 years from the beginning until it actually went on the air. A lot of costs involved in those kinds of productions, and we're going to need every dollar we can to put into the system to provide that kind of information
and the
programming.
lead time has got to be there for people to create these wonderful things. Ken is going to be doing baseball for his next project, which will be wonderful.
We'll be here on public television, and we're really delighted and pleased about that as well. Let's see here now. Where are we? Let's see. We have some special messages from people who have watched the Civil War, I believe. Let's take a look at some of those now.
Just about everything. That's the problem. It's all very good.
Washington Week in Review.
Well, I think Chowie Tadya's the thing to do because it's the right thing to eat.
Do you know Chip Neal?
We watch McNeil Lair every night.
I enjoy the New Hampshire Crossroads a lot.
Personally, I think Chip's one of the greatest persons going.
I used to watch Sesame Street and Electric Company and Zoom, too, I remember, but I don't think many people remember that nowadays.
I like the British comedies.
Do you like Chip Neal?
But I loved your when you had Bradshaw, you know, things like your Peter Palmieri special and things like that.
Reading Rainbow and 3-2-1 Contact.
And I enjoy a lot of the musical shows on the Big B.
I enjoyed for the Masterpiece Theater, especially the Ginger Tree.
Yeah, I think Frontline's probably the best show on TV.
And Annika likes to watch. What do you like to watch?
Interesting spot.
Yes.
I want to just comment on some of the voices that you're hearing on the Civil War series. Abraham Lincoln is Sam Waterston, Mary Chestnut, Julie Harris, let's see here, Walt Whitman and others, Garrison Keillor, William Tecumseh Sherman is Arthur Miller. You can imagine all the work involved in just bringing all of these people together and having the scripts ready and editing all of this just on the audio portions of that, which you often don't think of when you think of these films. We're delighted to be showing it to you. We're going to be going back for the final episode that we'll be showing you tonight in just a moment or two. There's still time for you to get your call in, and Linda, let's remind people that the Sullivan Ballou letter, which everyone seems to really want to have, is available to everyone who pledges $50 or more during the Civil War rebroadcast that we have here tonight. So we hope you want to join with us and join with Channel 11 and have that letter in your home to read again and again, and many of these other items that are available to you. The number's on your screen, and we'll be waiting for your call.
Thanks to those of you who have taken the time to call. It's been very gratifying, and we hope we can keep those phones ringing all evening long.
You are watching viewer-supported New Hampshire Public Television.
Special promotion of Channel 11's encore of the Civil War is made possible in part by the members of New Hampshire Public Television and by a grant from the Concord law firm of Rath, Young, Pignatelli, and Oyer on behalf of its employees, clients, and friends.
The Civil War continues.
Art Singer, General Manager here at Channel 11. I'm delighted that you're with us this evening, and we will be continuing with the final portion of tonight's Civil War episodes, episode 3, in just a minute or two. I want to remind you first of the schedule that Channel 11 has this weekend for presenting the entire series. We'll begin tomorrow night again at 6 p.m. and then on Monday at 7:30 p.m. And you'll have a chance to see all of the remaining episodes. If you have seen them before, as many people are commenting as they call in, again, you'll have that chance to see them again. We got a very interesting call and a pledge from Francine Nicholson in Derry, New Hampshire, who commented that her great-grandfather, William Hinchcliffe, was killed in the Civil War, and I think it is further reminder to all of us that how close the war really is and how much has changed and how much is still the same in all the years that have passed. I think many people have commented and written to us and said that they feel that the message of the Civil War series is not just the history of the Civil War, but also a message for all of us today to remember about war as well. And the genius of the series for me has been the opportunity to hear from some of these historians, Shelby Foote and Barbara Fields and many of the others. It's such a multi-dimensional program series that I think there are so many levels on which you can watch it, enjoy it, and learn from it. And that's the kind of television we want to continue to bring you here at Channel 11. Linda?
Art, and so many people are still calling, asking about the special items that we have to enhance your learning from the Civil War series. And I want to tell you, there are many things that are available, 7 items to be exact. The most asked for is, of course, Sullivan Ballew's letter to Sarah, which is available for folks who can pledge at a $50 or more level. And it is an exact reproduction of that letter. It's on parchment paper, and I think it's something that you would really enjoy having. It is frameable. The other, perhaps most asked for item is the music. And we have both the compact disc at a $90 level and the cassette at the $60 level, including the Ashokan Farewell and all of the music that you're going to be hearing tonight, tomorrow night, and Monday night during the Civil War. And of course, the Civil War battlefield map, the National Geographic map, and the Battlefield Atlas, which is actually a book with maps and strategies of battlefields included at the $60 and the $90 levels, respectively. And finally, certainly last but not least, is Ken Burns' very own book with his brother Rick, the companion to the series, The Civil War, at the $150 level. And if you can stretch all the way to $750, we do have a very limited supply. There's something like 10 sets of the videotapes left. These are the exact tapes with a cross-index of the 11-part series, The Civil War. So that's a complete rundown. For those of you that have been asking those questions, that's it in a nutshell.
Linda, you were mentioning earlier that Ken Burns has already committed to his next series on public television, and it reminded me that people like Bill Moyers and McNeil Lehrer and Mark Russell and Louis Rukeyser and Paul Duke all have something in common with Ken Burns, and that is that they have all committed themselves to do their work on public television. Why do they do that? Well, in many cases, they're doing it for the artistic freedom that they have when they present their programs on the air here, the time that they have, more time on the air, no commercials. It's a sense of commitment on their part, and they're relying, as always, on you as a viewer to speak up for your local public television station, because that's how public television works. So we hope that during the Civil War series that it will be an additional reminder to you that more programs like this are possible, that there are artists and experts and wonderful personalities who are committed to our industry, but only if the funds are there for them to do their work. And your pledge and your support is going to make the difference when to keep all of that happening here. We've had a number of people call in, and there'll be an opportunity for you to call now at 1-800-937-2411.
It's a night of commitments, Art, and you know, I'd like to remind you that the Putnam Foundation has made a major commitment to Channel 11. What they're agreeing to do is your pledge tonight will be matched by them. They're matching $1 for every $2 that's pledged. What does that mean? That means at the $60 level, we'll receive an additional $30. At the $150 level, we'll receive an additional $75, and on and on. So the challenge is on, and I hope you're going to make that challenge call right now and help Channel 11 earn some very much needed additional dollars. And in addition, remember that if you work for a company that provides matching funds, this is especially important because they'll actually double and sometimes triple your pledge to Channel 11. There are some of them on the screen. Be sure to go and ask at your personnel office if they match your pledge to Channel 11. It's as simple as that. There are some 200 companies, in fact, that will match pledges to New Hampshire Public Television. What have you got there, Art?
Well, just some more pledges here that have come in, and possibly somebody that you know here, Linda.
Thank you. Virginia Horner
But,
from Newcastle. Appreciate your pledge.
Pledging to meet the Putnam Challenge.
That's very important.
Right.
We're going in to see Pat Cook with the volunteers.
Art and Linda, I guess you can call me the phone monitor and keeping an eye on how the phones are going this evening. And to be honest with you, there are only just a couple of people on the phone right now. So if you've been waiting for that moment to call Channel 11 and say, thanks, here's your moment right now. Plenty of phone lines open to call and talk to the operators, the Channel 11 regulars here this evening. I want to say thanks. There have been many people who have called in. Arnie White from Amherst, New Hampshire, said he's never been more impressed with a program. Well, I think, Arnie, a lot of us join with that sentiment right there that this is just a very impressive program, and many people have the privilege and are able to enjoy it again. Russ Brady from Troy, New Hampshire, Ron and Charlene Martell from Greenland, Mary Backus from Mount Vernon, New Hampshire. Great to hear from everybody all around the state. Rebecca Berry from Rye, New Hampshire, loves Channel 11. Dr. Dexter Lawson from Wenham, Mass., specifically watching the Civil War, and he said he's a bit of a history buff at heart. Ann and James Wallace from Meredith, New Hampshire. Lisa Kerber from Marlow, New Hampshire. Deborah Dunham from Kennebunk, Maine. Glad to hear from our neighbors in Maine, and we've also been hearing from people in Massachusetts, too. Why not give us a call? Use that 800 number. Charge it Visa, MasterCard, or American Express. And now we're going to hear from a few people who have a few comments about the Civil War.
I guess the most significant part for me was Gettysburg, the whole episode that dealt with Gettysburg. I actually, the Gettysburg Address, by the time it occurred in that episode, brought tears to my eyes. And although I've always liked it as a piece of writing, I don't think I ever understood it in such an important, intrinsic, and emotional way as I did.
And they really made it seem real, and like there was a lot of action going on. So I got a good sense of that period of history.
I enjoyed the Civil War sequence, cried over the letter that instigated the whole beginning of the documentary, and enjoyed it again.
Interesting pledge?
Yes, it is, Art. It's a pledge from someone who asked that they remain anonymous, but this is the second one this evening in response to the woman whose grandfather was killed in the Civil War. He called and he said his father was in the Civil War and he left college 3 times to fight. In other words, he'd fight, then he'd go back to school, then he'd go back to the war. And so we're hearing from a lot of folks who have real connections to the Civil War tonight. I couldn't help but feel a little tug when I saw Deer Isle, because
I know, I want to ask you where that is.
Well, it's
being from Maine.
It's midway up the coast. It's about 50 miles sort of south of Bar Harbor, except nothing's miles like that, you know, because it goes in and out, but it's on the coast, on the island, and it's a beautiful place. And there aren't very many people there, so when they lost 1 or 2 people, it was a devastating blow to the community. And it's a special place for me, needless to say.
Well, we appreciate everyone who's been calling in. We're going to go back now for the final portion of tonight's programs. Remember, when we come back tomorrow, we'll be in episode 4, and we'll be covering the years 1863 and 1864. But there's still time for you to call tonight to get your pledge in, to get those items. And Linda, a number of those items are available in time for Christmas giving, is that right?
Yes, they are.
They can be delivered in time?
If you get your pledge in by December 14th, you can certainly make the deadline. The only one that's not necessarily available is the Ken Burns book. The jury's out on that one, but all the others are available, so call, talk to the operators. That's how you do it.
Excellent. Well, we began at 6 p.m. this evening with the first episode in the Civil War series, Ken Burns' milestone epic documentary series. And now we've seen the first 3 episodes. If you didn't join us at the beginning, we want to remind you that we'll be here for the next 2 nights as well, beginning at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. The number in your screen is a very important one. It's a number to call to get information about the books, the audio tapes, but most importantly, it's the number to call to let Channel 11 know that having wiped their schedule clean to present this kind of programming over 3 months was something that you wanted to see. We've had many calls tonight, but if we haven't heard from you, if you haven't expressed your thoughts about the Civil War, if you haven't let Channel 11 know whether this programming is the kind of thing that you feel is worthy of your support, then we need to hear from you right now. Our operators are in the studio, and they are waiting for your call. We'll be going on to a special program on New Hampshire in the Civil War with Fritz Weatherby, produced by Channel 11, in just a moment or two. Among the many calls we've had tonight, we've had calls from distant relatives of actual Civil War veterans who have remembered their history and their heritage through the years, and there are a number of people who have stories to tell, and we'd like to hear those from those of you who have been watching the Civil War tonight. Ken Burns and his staff obviously put together a remarkable series, and we're delighted to be bringing it to you again. Let's go to Linda and Pat Cook in the studio.
Art, thanks a lot. This has been a great night at Channel 11, and it isn't over yet. We have 2 more breaks, and I hope in this break we're going to be hearing from you because we have something awfully special to tell people, Pat. We have a challenge grant. The challenge grant is coming from the Putnam Foundation. They're good friends of the station, and what they've done is they are going to match $1 for each and every $2 that folks pledge tonight. This could be a windfall of money.
Big.
Big, very, potential is very big. And I just want to encourage you to call while this challenge is on, because this is an excellent opportunity for Channel 11. It's December, and, well, most of you probably know what that means. It's the end of the year drive here at the station. If you pledge $60, the station gets an additional $30 for a total of $90. If you pledge $150, the station earns an additional $75 to make a tidy little sum there of $225. That's excellent. And by the way, that $150 level gets you a special book.
That's right, and that book is really a nice book. It was written with Ken Burns and his brother Rick, and it is a beautiful book, and I'm sure it will enhance not only your knowledge of the Civil War, it's a nice companion to go along with the series, but also to have in your library. If you have children coming along, it will be very useful for any school type of project. So give us a call. Let's hear from you. We have just a couple of operators busy right now, and we'd like to get them all busy, wake them up a little bit. They enjoyed watching the Civil War all evening along with you. And speaking of the book, here's Ken Burns to say a few words about it.
We made a companion book in which a lot of the excruciating stories that had to, because of the medium, film and television, or just because of time we couldn't include, did make it into a companion book, which is we're very, very proud of, as much as the film, in that we feel it's a new way of presenting history. It's quite visual, and yet it has a very strong and rich text, and we were able to bring together many of the threads that had to be abandoned in the film production.
Tomorrow night's episode begins with the Union disaster at Fredericksburg and comes to 2 climaxes that spring: at Chancellorsville in May, where Lee wins a brilliant victory but loses General Stonewall Jackson, and at Vicksburg. So that's how the series starts tomorrow night. And for those of you who are Civil War buffs, I'm sure that a lot of this is familiar to you, but I haven't met anyone yet who hasn't learned something new by watching this series, hearing from Shelby Foote and the other historians who are on this program as well. This is a time of priorities for a lot of us. We don't have a lot of extra dollars these days. It's a time to decide where to invest our funds and where not to. And as you consider what is going to be important to you in 1991, I hope that you're going to have Channel 11 at the top of your list. Channel 11 is here to provide programs like the Civil War, but it's only with viewer dollars that we can continue to maintain the quality of the programming. With every station providing the Civil War, it's a reminder that It's because we've had the support in the past that this series was possible. But for more of them to be available in the future, we have to invest, and we all need to invest. The state needs to invest, corporations and businesses need to invest, and we're asking you to invest in Channel 11. So I hope, although the hour is late, that you will call us. Let's take a look at this now.
Channel 11 offers several thank you gifts which will increase your knowledge of the Civil War period and add to what you and your family have learned during this great series. The National Geographic Society has prepared a detailed two-sided map showing the major battlegrounds, strategic areas, and major troop movements. Printed on heavy linen-like paper for easy use, the complete map of the major battlefields is offered with your $60 membership. For in-depth reading, you may select the companion book to the television series, The Civil War, written by Jeffrey C. Ward, with the creators of the series, Ken Burns and Rick Burns. This book contains more than 500 illustrations, many of which have never before been published. You will receive this comprehensive guide with your $150 membership. Of course, with each membership of $50 or more, Channel 11 will include a parchment copy of the stirring love letter written by Sullivan Ballou to his wife shortly before his death at the First Battle of Bull Run. Enjoy these collector's items while enjoying your membership in New Hampshire Public Television. Become a member now.
Operators have all the information on other premiums as well, including the audio soundtrack and the compact disc soundtrack as well. So please call now, and you can get all that information from one of our wonderful volunteers who have given up their evening to be with us tonight. I also want to thank all of our volunteers who have come in to be with us on the phones this evening. The program you're about to see was actually suggested by Ken Burns, the filmmaker. You know, Ken lives in Walpole, New Hampshire, and I was with him about 2 years ago, and he asked us if we had been planning to do anything about New Hampshire in the Civil War. And we came back to the station and talked about it, and sure enough, with Fritz Weatherby and a crew going out, we were able to uncover some very interesting facts about New Hampshire's involvement in the Civil War. And you'll be seeing all of that in just a couple of minutes. It's just another example of the special programming that you'll see only here on Channel 11. And of course, everyone who becomes a member gets the Channel 11 program guide, and you'll get additional background information on all of the special local programs that are available to you all year long. Linda, Pat?
Art, we've been hearing from folks all over northern New England tonight. Martin and Caroline Gross, thank you very much for your pledge tonight. We're glad you're watching on Concord. And Laura Lynn Jones from Kennebunk has called in response to the Putnam Challenge. Pat, lots of folks calling for that challenge to get some matching money in here.
Good. George Colombo from Merrimack, New Hampshire. Dan and Barbara Kenzig from Bedford, New Hampshire. David Cutler from Nashua, New Hampshire.
I have also John Engelhoff from Manchester and David White at Turnkey Construction up in Woodsville. Good spot. Thanks for calling. And Susan Krause from Georgetown, Massachusetts.
Wow, hearing from all over. Frank Rodriguez from Goffstown, New Hampshire. Albert Odder from Wolfboro, New Hampshire.
Pretty town.
Nice area.
Ann Honor from Groveland, Mass. has made a pledge. Pat and Russell Gerard from Manchester, who said, I've always been meaning to, but I never got to it until now. Thank you, Russell. It's a good night to call. If you've been meaning to make a pledge to Channel 11, tonight's the night because the challenge is still on right up until the witching hour. What does that mean? It means that for every $2 that you pledge, we get an additional $1 in matching money. And so if it's a $60 membership, then it's really $90 it's going to mean for Channel 11. And if it's that $150 level, it's $225. But that also means that every single pledge is extremely important because whatever you pledge generates matching money if it's a new membership for Channel 11.
Okay, and there you see the Sullivan Ballou letter, which everyone seems to want to have, and it can be yours with your pledge of $50 or more. There are so many stories about the Civil War and the impact that the series has had that PBS put out a compendium here, which is, well, it's this thick, full of information and materials about the series. And it's just become a national phenomenon and one that allowed us to repeat the series. And Again, we make these decisions. Hopefully, they're the kinds of things that you want to see and the kinds of things that you're going to support. Channel 11 is still relying very heavily on viewer support, and it requires the involvement of over 30,000 households right now who are members of Channel 11. We wish that were enough, but as prices go up, as the quality that you expect from Channel 11 continues to, your expectations continue to increase, it's going to take more dollars, so we need your involvement as well. Let's go on now to the Civil War in New Hampshire, produced by Channel 11 with Fritz Weatherby. We'll be waiting for your pledge of support and calls with information about the Civil War.
You are watching viewer-supported New Hampshire Public Television.
Major corporate funding for the Civil War was provided by General Motors and its almost 800,000 employees in 38 countries. General Motors committed to excellence in quality products and television programming. Funding was also provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities, which supports scholarship, research, education, and public programs. Also the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations, and by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation.
Special promotion of Channel 11's encore of the Civil War is made possible in part by the members of New Hampshire Public Television and by a grant from the Concord law firm of Rath, Young, Pignatelli, and Oyer on behalf of its employees, clients, and friends.
Hello, I'm Fritz Weatherby. Our program is entitled New Hampshire and the Civil War, and during the next half hour we will explore New Hampshire's part in this, the greatest tragedy in American history. We will also explore the precursors to this war, that is, how we got into the war and the events that led up to it, including New Hampshire's attitude toward slavery. In 1861, New Hampshire had 300,000 people. During the war, we had 39,000 enlistments, although I am told that a full half of these came from either out of state or were re-enlistments. 4,400 people died as a result of the war, 1,900 of them from battle wounds, and a full 2,500 people died of sickness and disease. Now, these are statistics, and at best they're misleading, but they do tell us some things about the war. A half an hour is not very much time, and we have had to choose our stories for this program, but if you are inspired by this program to find out more about New Hampshire and the Civil War, I'd like to recommend a couple of sources. The first is the New Hampshire State Historical Society, which has a marvelous library on New Hampshire and the Civil War, including most of the regimental histories. And a book written by New Hampshire historian William Marvel entitled Race of the Soil, a book which has so impressed me that I have used it as a text for this program and have, with Bill's permission, quoted extensively from it. Here in the Crown Point Cemetery in Stratford, New Hampshire, is the grave of Luther W. Davis, member of Company C, 9th Regiment, New Hampshire Volunteers, killed in battle at Spotsylvania, Virginia. He fell like a soldier, it says on his grave. He died at his post. The 9th